Sky Squad, we are back in the building. And of course, I'm not on camera today because, listen, when you got family in the hospital and you're running back and forth from one city to the next, trying to get there every day, it is just a lot. So bear with me for the next couple of days as we get everything straightened out. And of course, keep my family in prayer, please. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we got to talk about today. I'm gonna leave this playing, okay, because I think this will give you more perspective on what it is that is the reason for Aikisha's upset with the network. Okay. Now, I don't know if you guys had seen the Belle Collective intro. I did not get a chance to recap because honestly, I've been spending a lot of time between my parents' house and the hospital. But as you can see at the bottom of the screen, there's a little twerk action with Aikisha in the intro. Okay. Now, y'all know I love some Belle Collective. I do. And I love a refresh. Now, when I first saw this, I ain't gonna lie, watching Aikisha twerk, I was like, oh, that's so cute. you know, but I also thought that's so odd, right? Because having met Aikisha in person, also having interviewed her, um, you understand the type of persona, and I can't say persona because I don't want you to think it's fake, but you understand that Aikisha's the type of woman who, in my opinion, she's a very strong woman. She's a very powerful woman, and she's a businesswoman, right? And she's a family woman as well. And I think that in the way that Aikisha carries herself, at least from what I've seen thus far, is that she probably wouldn't necessarily want to be shown twerking, but I think maybe the goal was to humanize her and give her a twerk, and she obviously did it. So unless it's AI generated, but in the intro, she is doing a little twerk action. But she's not happy about this at all. Shout out to our friends over at Reality Entertainment TV. Um, I'll if I can, I'll play you a little bit of the intro so that you guys can get an idea of what she's upset about. For if you can't see it from right here. She says, I must say I'm very disappointed in whoever is responsible for this clip being chosen for my opening credits. I was actually joking and playing with the production team that I felt could be trusted as we searched for music to use during my time of filming. So again, I do think she did it, right? Like I said earlier, but I think it was also one of those types of things where if you've ever been at a photo shoot behind the scenes, you act up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You're getting yourself loose, because you really want to give what you need to give. But sometimes you do get a little silly. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what was happening. I think that the person that probably used the clip was like, "Oh, this is so cute. It shows another side of her." But unfortunately, she says, I never thought for once they would even consider using this for me. We did several different scenarios of model walking, serious to smile poses, and stylish directions for the best shots to be used as options. I expressed my disapproval when I saw this before shooting the reunion. I was very clear I did not want this to be used. I, like most of you, watched this in embarrassment saying, WTH was that? The calls and texts I've received, dot, 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 very disappointed in the disrespect. Because somebody had posted and said, Aikisha, please. So listen, it's not funny. It's totally not funny. But I'm gonna go on record and say it does show another side of her that I felt like, okay, this is, it's cute, but I also understand too her position about not wanting something like that to be seen, right? And I think that, it needs to be respected. So hopefully they're able to fix this. And I think that that would probably go a long way towards making her feel a bit better. Um, you know, if you look at the entire promo, um, everybody is kind of giving something a little playful. Um, And I think once you see it in its full capacity, you'll see that everybody is kind of doing something a little bit, playful in it. Because I also think that they wanted to convey that this was going to be a lighter season. You know what I'm saying? So when you see the twerk, I'm sorry, Aikisha, it is not funny. It's only you because you can clearly see whatever she did, she was kind of joking. And so, I just want to say that I think that this can be fixed. And I'm sure at some point, I'm sure at some point it will, right? All right, so let's get into something a bit more serious because this is a serious matter, right? Um, when we take things over to Canvas Girl Beauty, one of the things that you will see is, she posted a video of herself in handcuffs, Stormy Steele from Love and Marriage Huntsville. And I'm going to be real with you guys. I have for some time thought that this was going to be the last season for Stormy. This was not anything that I had heard from her or anybody else. I try not to ask people too much specifically about what's coming down the line, even behind the scenes if I have relationships with them, because I don't want to put them in a position to where they get in trouble with the network or the production company. And if anybody was to tell me, I would never say anything because I respect the programming, I respect the network, I respect their position as a cast member. So, but this was just an inkling in my mind, especially if you watch Stormy on social media and you see the energy and the effort that she has been putting into her brand and where it has taken her. And I think it is a masterclass in the joy and the abundance of what comes when you really, really put the energy and effort into your business. And that's also one of the reasons why I fell in love with this show to start with. Watching these entrepreneurs build these businesses, build homes, these are things that I felt like, I've seen or heard people do, but like to be able to see them on camera, I think has been a different story for me. So when people ask me, why do I love this show? Or why do I continue to recap it, even when at times it feels like the surrounding drama that surrounds the show kind of puts a cloud over the show at times, I still try to power through because I respect these people and what they are able to build, right? Now, having said that, I also feel like I don't like what I'm seeing when I hear about these types of things that happen to any of them with regards to their business enterprises outside of the show because of something that may have happened on the show. Now, anybody who doesn't like that person starts to kind of go into and disrupt any of their businesses. I don't like that. And again, I've said it in the previous video. I don't want you guys to put yourselves in danger as a fan of the show because you never know what you're going to roll into. Because had it not been Stormy that intercepted the person, it could have been some type of security. And I just wouldn't want anything to happen to you. You know what I'm saying? So I said enough of that last week. Let's get into what Stormy had to say. She says, case dismissed. Sometimes your greatest setups set you up for your greatest come up. Read that again. The greatest setups set you up for your greatest come up. Light always wins. This happened at the beginning of the year because a fan of a reality TV show I was on chose to show up at my warehouse. Fast forward, not only was this meritless case dismissed, I won all year in spite of every attack sent my way. I took the high road the whole journey. Being on the reality show I was on was a great experience from the network to the producers and the majority of the cast. However, I was about my business before it, made over 30 million, and anything that jeopardizes my business and the table I built for myself, I choose me. I can't wait to see what God has in store for me next. Now, if you were wondering what this means and if it means that she quit, if you scroll down here, someone says it may be time to step away from that TV show. God is expanding your territory and purpose. Congratulations, Stormy. Stormy writes back, I quit in April, babe. Here's the thing with that. I do think that, and I talked about this even with I spoke about this with Candace, I think at the beginning of the season of Real Housewives of Potomac. And I said, you know, specifically because of Candace's space, it felt like she was entering a space with music and with acting that I did not want her to fall into the Erica Mena trap. What I mean by that is this. Now, Erica Mena has those are her own issues, okay? But what happens is you get into these situations on a reality TV show, and then you are put in a position where it's fight or flight, and you choose to fight. And then you end up exposing yourself, saying something that gets you into trouble, okay? And now you are forced to leave that show under circumstances that you were not under your control. And what I didn't want for Candace to be in a situation where she's not Erica Mena. Let me make that clear. Wherein she ended up in a situation where someone said something, and she's in a situation where she's got to defend herself, and you end up saying something that you then regret. Because I could see her stardom start to rise outside of the show and what she could potentially be doing. And I think that the same can be said for Stormi, wherein I think we've all seen her continuing to build her business. And I think at a certain point in time, you utilize reality TV for what it needs to be utilized for, and then you continue your elevation. And I think that this was a natural progression. And so I think it is what it is at this point. I think it was the best move for her. And I think it is what it is. I noticed also too in the post, she didn't call out any particular fan community, and she actually gives props to the show. So I think that's one of those things where it's kind of like you respect the establishment, but you also you got to put some respect on your own self-worth and your own values, and move in the way that is best for you and your business. So there we have that. The last thing that we want to talk about, guys, is there's a lot of things happening, and this is where we get into the spoiler conversation. But one of the things that we need to talk about is what's going to happen on the Real Housewives of Potomac tonight. All right. So with that being said, let's get into what our friends over at the Bravo Shade Room posted. They posted a clip for tonight. Now, again, this is a spoiler alert for anybody who does not want to be spoiled. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry to do this to you, but please continue to watch and just listen. After the ladies find out that Mia and Jacqueline, or at least Mia tells Stacey that she feels like Karen needs rehab, Stacey does what I think is the most appropriate thing, and she goes to ask Karen, should we be concerned? Karen says no, because if I'm the type of person that can own what's wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? So, but if there was a need to be concerned, then I would tell you to be concerned. And at that point, she says, well, Mia had an opioid addiction, so that is the reason why she started the joint, or something to that effect. Now, when I first saw this, I was like, did she just throw that out? I mean, are we just now just throwing? Can we just now throw out anything? Because I was kind of like, where's the line here? And it just kind of, I was gonna ask some interesting questions about what we're able to do with reality TV and how we respond to it. And so I want you guys to think about so I think with Karen, for her, she felt like this was payback, right? And let me know what you think. Is it payback or not? Because the next thing that I happen to see, and again, shout out to the Bravo Shade Room for reposting this clip, because at the end of the day, what we do know is at a certain point in time, this was something that Mia had addressed a while ago. And we'll get into a little bit of that here. So take a listen.
All right, Mia, let's talk about how chiropractic care has been great for you.
All right, so this is where she's going to get into it.
Well, for me, I had a very traumatic childhood growing up here in the DC, Maryland area, which unfortunately led me to an opioid overdose at a very young age.
All right, so if you look at the byline at the bottom, it talks about potentially using chiropractic care as an opioid alternative. So it sounds like what Karen was saying was somewhat true, but I guess for some people, they will feel like, was she weaponizing that in that instance? Or was she simply returning serve? Because the post said the grand dame never lies. Mia herself admitted to having an opioid addiction. I think it would behoove, if we can find the longer clip, then I will. But, you know, just let me know what you guys think. You know, it's interesting because you could say that both Mia and Karen are kind of open, but not open, right? I don't know. This is an interesting battle right here. And I don't quite know how I feel about it because I don't know where it will end. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. So like I said, make sure you guys keep it locked onto the channel. Thank you guys for supporting me. I am trying to get videos out when I can. I haven't been able to watch the full episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville or Belle Collective. When I get a moment to do so in between running back and forth to the hospital, I definitely will. So with that being said, your boy is just trying to keep up with it all, keeping up with Karen. All right. And I will catch you in the next video.